Am I the a-hole for being truthful and admitting that I find my wife unattractive after her surgery? My wife had plastic surgery recently. We had discussed it, and I was against it. It was not my decision, and ultimately I had no say. She looks weird now. She had the fat sucked out of her face, lip fillers, a neck lift, other stuff I don't really get. She gives me uncanny valley vibes now. It freaks me out. She is fully healed now, and she wants us to go back to normal. Like me initiating sex. I have done so, but not as much as I used to. And when I do, I try and make sure there is very little light. It's been a few months, and I kind of dread having to look at her. Obviously, she has noticed. She has been bugging me to tell her what's up. I've tried telling her I'm just tired from work, or that I'm run down. Really anything except for the truth. She broke down and asked me if I was having an affair. I said that I wasn't. She asked to look at my phone. I unlocked it for her and handed it over. I wasn't worried about her finding anything because there is nothing to find. She spent an hour looking through it and found nothing. She asked me to explain why I changed. I tried explaining that I just wasn't that interested right now. Nothing I said was good enough for her. She kept digging. I finally told the truth. I wasn't harsh or brutally honest. I just told her that her new face wasn't something I found attractive, and that I was turned off. She asked if that's why I turn off all the lights now. I said yes. She started crying and said that she needed time alone. She went to stay with her sister. I have been called every name in the book since this happened. Her sister said I'm a piece of shit for insulting my wife's looks. Her friends all think I'm the asshole. I tried not to say anything. I can't force myself to find her attractive. I still love her, but her face is just weird now. She looks like the blue alien from The Fifth Element. Update? My wife came home yesterday, and we finally had a long talk. She told me that the reason she had the surgery was because her mom and sister talked her into it. They convinced her that she was starting to look old, and that I would find someone else to be with if she did not do something. That was why her mom gave her the money for the operations. Her mom and sister look like Bruce Campbell in Escape from LA. They are the very last people on the planet that should be telling anyone to get plastic surgery. I used some of the comments I read on my post as talking points. I told her that I loved her, and that she was the person that I wanted to spend my life with. I told her that the surgery would take a while longer to settle down, and that as I got more used to her new face, I would learn to appreciate it. She asked me if I wanted her to see if she could get it reversed. I almost screamed at her. The last thing in the world I want is for her to fuck up her face more than it already is. I asked her if she could please just leave it and let me get used to it. We talked for about 3 hours, and we decided that her mom and sister would not be a part of any decisions in our life going forward. She is going to leave her face alone and give me a chance to get used to it. We are going to look for a marriage counselor and maybe individual counselors for each of us. I am going to make an effort to show her every day how I still find her desirable. And she is going to make an effort to believe me when I tell her I love her the way she is. We are going to talk to her mom and sister and tell them that we are taking a break from them. We are going to block them and get our shit together before we allow them back into our lives. Thank you to everyone who tried to help me. I would like to add that I did not think there were that many guys out there with a weird blue squid lady fetish. It isn't for me, but you do you. Am I the a-hole for taking away my daughter's bedroom and giving it to my son? I, 30 male, have a daughter, Harper, 14 female, from a previous relationship. I have full custody, and her mom is not involved in her life. 5 years ago, I married my wife, Nina, 31 female. We tried to have a child but couldn't. We went to the doctor, and turned out I can't have any more kids due to some complications. We decided to use a sperm donor, and the result was a son, Mark, who was born a few months ago. The problem started when Nina got pregnant. Harper wasn't happy about it. When Mark was born, things got worse. Before this, Harper and I used to spend 2 days a week together. Just the two of us without my wife, but after Mark was born, I couldn't do that anymore. I can't just leave my wife alone for 2 days a week with the newborn. And Harper has been very angry about it. The main problem started 3 days ago. Nina and I decided to make a nursery for Mark instead of having him in our bedroom. For multiple reasons. Our home has 4 bedrooms, 2 master bedrooms at one side and the bedrooms at the other side. One of the master rooms is ours, the other one is Harper's. It was very hard for Nina and I to go to the other side of the home multiple times at night. When Mark wakes up, so I asked Harper pack her stuff and go to one of the bedrooms so that we could give her room to Mark. At first everything seemed alright. She said okay, then went to her room and started packing, but less than an hour later, my brother showed up at our home, asking for Harper. She had called him and asked him to take her. She came out of her room with her stuff, told me you can give it to your son now, and left with my brother. I told her she could only go for one night, but it has been 3 days and she is not back, and won't even talk to me. I'm receiving calls from my family all calling me an ass and other names. I don't trust their judgment. They very clearly favor Harper. She was the first grandchild in our family, and everyone's favorite also. They are trying to accept Mark as my son, but I could see that they haven't been able. Yet so I decided to post here and get some unbiased opinions. Am I the whole edit? Here is the update that I promised. I realized I've messed up, so I went to my brother's home and tried to get Harper back. But he didn't even let me see her, saying she doesn't want to see me. He said he would only let her go back if she wanted to go with me. We moved to another home close to their home because they wanted to have Harper close to them, to keep an eye on her and make sure we are treating her right. We used to live very close to them, but when I got married, my wife and family didn't get along, so we moved somewhere farther away, which made Harper very sad. Harper will get to choose which bedroom she wants in our new home. I should spend one-on-one time with Harper at least 1 day a week, which I accepted. This caused a lot of problems since my wife doesn't like some of those conditions. She thinks they are not reasonable. She got angry, took Mark, and went to her parents' home and is staying there, so now I'm also receiving text from my in-laws calling me an awe. Right now I'm looking for a new home that is closer to my brother's home. I called Harper, and my brother convinced her to talk to me for once. She was crying the whole time while telling me that she felt like I didn't want her anymore. Hearing her cry like that really broke my heart. I honestly never meant to hurt her. After so many apologies and gifts, she finally agreed to see me. I will go to my brother's home every day to spend time with her. She has also finally agreed to come home with me when I find a new home. Am I the a-hole for refusing to keep doing chores for my wife? I 28 male and have been married to my wife Bella 28 female for 5 years. We both met and went to the same college. She pre-law while I was doing animation. She graduated top of our class and went to a T20 law school. While she was in law school, I had a lot of trouble finding a job in my field or a job at all. Really. I ended up working in a kitchen as a line cook to help support us in addition to loans she took out while she was going to school so she could just focus on her classes. Bella got a very good job in a different state after she graduated, so I quit my job and haven't gotten another one since. We have no kids, a nice house for the two of us, and are overall living very comfortably. She works very long hours, so I take care of most of the household things. Cleaning, cooking, grocery shopping, repainting the walls, and doing other work and renovations to the house. In the last 6 months, Bella started referring to me as her house husband around our family and friends. I've mostly been letting it go, but every single time it bothers me. I'm already insecure about not being able to find a good job, and it makes me feel even more inadequate. I finally got to the end of my rope when we were with her mother on Sunday, who still doesn't really approve of me. And they were talking about taking care of the lawn, garden, and she said, "Thank goodness I have a house husband for that, or I'd never find the time," and smiled at me. Then they both laughed. It was humiliating. I didn't say anything at first, but I guess she could tell that I was really upset and asked what was wrong. I told her that she needed to stop emasculating me and making it seem like I didn't contribute anything to the household. We were arguing back and forth, and she told me that she would stop calling me a house husband if I was going to get that upset about it, but that it wasn't an untrue term, and I needed to stop being insecure. Bella refuses to apologize. I feel like she doesn't fully appreciate my value as her husband. I've stopped doing the chores until she apologizes, and she is beyond pissed off. She's been coming home and cooking dinner only for herself and doing the chores I haven't, and then taking off to spend the night at a friend's house. I was talking to my sister about it, and she told me that Bella was wrong, but I was being immature in my response. The thing is, if I give in, she's going to keep thinking what she's been doing is okay. I don't even know anymore. Am I the a-hole? Am I the a-hole for taking my daughter into the women's restroom instead of the men's and making women uncomfortable? I'm 36 male and my daughter is 4. We were all heading to an event and my daughter had to pee and kept complaining. So we stopped at a Walmart so she could pee. We don't normally use public restrooms, but this was an emergency, and we really didn't want her to pee in the car. My wife asked me to take her in since she's 7 months pregnant and didn't feel like walking her. So I take her to the women's restroom since I know how nasty men's restrooms are. That, along with the fact that I don't like the idea of her being surrounded by strange men at urinals. So, we're in the restroom, and I'm standing outside the stall waiting for her to finish. When we got in there, it had been empty, but a group of girls and an elderly lady had walked in a few minutes after, giving me weird looks. I tried to only focus on the stall my daughter was in, to not make myself seem suspicious. But then the elderly lady loudly asked me what I was doing, and if I was creeping on someone in the stall. I tried to quickly explain that my daughter was in there, that I meant no harm. That wasn't enough, however, as she started to threaten to get security since I was in a woman's space being weird. Thankfully, my daughter exited the stall just then, and we hurriedly left the restroom before anything escalated. I told my wife what had happened in the car, and she got this look on her face. She asked why I thought it was okay to go in the woman's restroom, and that it wasn't okay, that I made those women worry. I told her I somewhat understand, but our daughter is a little girl who had no place in the men's restroom. She says I'm the asshole for not thinking of how those women might have felt, but I don't feel like I did anything wrong. I'm a tall and muscular dude, so I can seem intimidating, but I truly didn't do anything. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I'm super overwhelmed with the amount of comments. My wife will be taking her to the bathroom in public to avoid any further issues. Am I the a-hole? I told my daughter not to bother applying for college. This is a throwaway account. I am 35 female and have a 16-year-old daughter. My daughter has a late birthday early, mid-December, so she is going into her senior year of high school. She is a very smart girl, and I'm proud of what she's accomplished. But she's also young and naive in a lot of ways. She's easily manipulated. She doesn't pay much attention to her surroundings. She can't stand up for herself. She constantly still calls or texts myself and her father for help with things. More recently, I've also been concerned about her doing dangerous things or submitting to peer pressure from her friends. I've met them, and they are not good kids. I've told her to stop talking to them, but she refuses and tries to go behind my back. For these reasons, among others, her father and I have decided that we are not going to let her go off to college, as long as she's a minor under our care. This means that she won't be going in fall 2025-2024 because she doesn't turn 18 until that December. I am not trying to stifle her, but I do want her to be safe. She was recently talking about starting to fill out college applications, and I told her not to bother. I explained that we weren't letting her go until she's old enough to make that decision for herself. She started crying and yelling at me, but I refused to budge. I don't think I'm being unreasonable, and honestly her reaction is more evidence of immaturity. But apparently she texted her aunt, who has been calling me an asshole. Am I the asshole? Edit. Fall 2024, not fall 2025. Edit 2. People seem to think that I will not allow her to go to college at all. I am absolutely willing to let her go to college once she's 18, and we will pay for it. Wherever she wants to go, we have the means.